you get caught in your own way. We have tunnel vision and we're just trying to play whack-a-mole in front of us. If you really want to blow up, you need to innovate. You need to see where the holes are. You see where the holes are every day. Yeah. We're seeing the holes right now. I hired smarter. So I don't even have a computer. This computer I'm on it right now is my marketing girls. And I don't even know how to do any of this.
You live in your lane of genius. You figured out, hey, all of this other stuff is a distraction for me. It's not the highest and best use of my time. Where I live is where my genius is. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Glennda Baker, and I am a real estate agent in Atlanta, Georgia. And sit down and grasp tightly, because you are not going to believe the boss episode I have for you today. I have my friend Dawn McKenna, and I'd love to say that Dawn McKenna from Chicago, but it's not Dawn McKenna from Chicago. It's Dawn McKenna who rules the world. The number 3 mega team in all of the country. Y'all sit down because you are in for a ride. I have never, ever in my life met a woman who is running her business like Dawn. She is probably, number 1, she's in the weeds. She's doing it with us. Number 2, she is proficient in everything she does. And I love the way that she takes the bull by the horns and tames it like a boss. So ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Dawn McKenna.
Hi, gosh, that was like quite the intro. And I'm so glad this is recorded because, wow.
You know, I mean, Dawn, I got to tell you, it's the honest to God truth. I'm not blowing smoke up your skirt because most of the time you wear pants, except for when you did that gorgeous photo shoot. My God, that was amazing. But I got to tell you, I mean, for the people who don't know who you are, which I can't even imagine who that is, they're living under a rock. Give us like a brief summary synopsis of who you are, where's your business, what kind of team you run.
Sure. Okay. Well, so we're the number 3 team in the country amongst every agency. I'm very proud of that because I couldn't have done it without my team. So in 2003, let's go back, way back. So I married my high school sweetheart, met him at 15, went to U of I, followed him to U of I, just wanted to be honest with you, and I'm very proud of this, a wife and a mother. Like that's what I wanted. And so in 2003, I was pregnant with my 5th baby and I lost that baby. And most people don't know this. So I've never, ever shared this. I'm sharing this with you because I trust you and you're a doll and this is just the way it is. So my husband is a lawyer and I was like a decorator. So I wouldn't say I was like an ASID designer, but like say you said, hey, come over here. I want you to do my kitchen, or hey, I want you to do my grandson's room. I would do it. And maybe at the end of the year, I could buy a handbag, right? So, I mean, that means I didn't make that much money, but I loved what I did. And I always had a good eye. I learned that from my mom. And so I flipped a lot of my own houses. So I knew the real estate community and everybody knew me. I raised my kids in a town called Hinsdale, 18,000 people, very affluent, I will say. And everybody knows everybody. And my kids did a lot for me. And I'll explain that in a minute. So what happened was I would flip my houses, and I got into this house, and it was quite a large house because I thought we were having 7 people live in it, and it didn't work out that way. And I always say that that's like my angel, to be honest with you, because my husband said, why don't I stay home? You love real estate. I told you we can't decorate this house all at once. And I thought, wow, I want to buy this $22,000 couch, which the joke is right now, I wouldn't even spend $22,000 on a couch, but that's a conversation for a different time. But so what happened was he said, one room at a time, Dawn, I can't swing this. Why don't you take the time, go get your real estate license? And I thought, gosh, if I sell one house for $1 million, 2.5% is $25,000, I could buy my couch. So I took the test, and I don't know if you did this, but they used to have it where you could take the test Monday through Friday, and you would go to class from 8 a.m. till 6 o'clock. It was crazy. I was like eating Taco Bell. It reminded me of college. Like, I'm like, oh my God, I'm like counting on my hands for all of you out there that are worried about that and can relate. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that like I wasn't nervous as heck. I mean, my kids had like Spider-Man on the wall when I came home, and we had a party because mom passed her test, you know? And so I went into, this is really interesting, I think, for your viewers. So I was very loyal. You'll see that throughout my career and what choices I've made. But I mean, I married my high school sweetheart. I'm still married. Like, come on. Like, this is just me. I'm really good at change, but I'm very, very loyal when it comes to many things. And so the realtor that was my realtor for flipping houses was with a really like small boutique firm. And that was like very, very in back in 2003. Remember, Glenda? And I called her. And can I swear on this?
Yeah, of course. Hello. Have you met me?
I know. But I didn't know if we were like all proper on this. But
Go right ahead.
I'll never forget as long as I lived. I was so excited. I got my real estate license. I didn't even have a babysitter, you guys. Okay. I just wanted to get the freaking couch. Okay. And I was really, really, really proud of myself that here I had these 4 kids. I didn't even tell you this. Sorry. I had an 8, a 6, a 4, and a 2-year-old at the time. I forgot all about them. Jesus, how could I do that? So it was a grind. And so I called this agent that at the time I had bought like 4 houses from in 2003 in the same town. And I said, hey, I'll be your bitch. I'm really good at like engaging people. Like I'm the kind like I could go to Home Goods right now, and if I saw they have Manolo Blahniks, I'd be like, Glenda, they have Manolo Blahniks for $49. Get your butt there. Okay. So she said, and I quote, and this is someone that was my broker. She said, you know what? Lots of luck to you, and hung up on me. She was pissed off, and that was her reaction. I'll never forget it. She's still in business. I still do work with her. I will never tell anybody who it was, but I will never forget it. And it was such like a gut punch. Like I was like, oh my God, I thought like I could go prep the house. I could stage. I could be there for the showing, or I could be at the line dropping my kids off, or being like, you guys come to this open house, blah, blah, blah. So that next Sunday, I was at St. Isaac Joe's where my kids went to Catholic school, and I was at church. And this gal from Coldwell Banker came up to me. And she was a friend of a friend. She's from Australia. And she said, hey, I heard you got your license. You should come to Coldwell Banker. And I'm being really honest when I say this. Like Coldwell Banker was like like, no offense if anybody wears name tags on this, but like, I'm not a name tag person. Like, I'm like, don't they wear name tags? And like, that just was not luxury. It was not upper bracket. It was like, what? I don't think I'm going there. And she goes, well, I'm just telling you, it would be a great place. I'm there and I can help you through. I just think you're awesome. You're a friend of a friend. I've heard so much about you. Why don't you just come and take a look? And it was literally on the heels of someone that I valued that completely shut me down. And I went there, and I went with all 4 of my kids, no babysitter. I talked to the manager. I said, listen, here's the deal. How much is this going to cost me? And it's like, whatever. At the time it was like $4,000 to sign up. I'm like, I'm eating into my couch. So anyway, long and short of it, I start, and it exploded, to be honest. And what happened was, because my kids were so ingrained in the town, my husband was like the president of the Little League, and I was kind of out there doing things. People would be like, hey, can you help me style this? Or, hey, I want to do a flock tree. What do you think? I had a friend, and she wasn't even a good friend. She was just an acquaintance. She called me up and she said, listen, and it was like the house in town. At the time, I'll never forget, it was, we sold it for $4.68 million. And my town had not seen like in the 4s. They've seen 2s and 3s, but not in the 4 millions. And she said, hey, I trust you. I know you just got your license. I'm going through a world of hurt. My husband is in rehab. She had 8, 6, 4, and 2-year-olds. And she said, I see you at the baseball field. I just love your like tenacious spirit. I just feel good when I'm around you. And the most important thing is I trust you. Can you come over here? I said, well, I don't know what I'm doing, but I can tell you right now, I will help you. And when I tell you, this woman, it was like Noah's freaking ark. Everyone's like, you don't like pets. I do like pets, but like, let's be real. Pets aren't necessarily like an asset when you're trying to sell a house and it smells like kitty litter and whatever. And she had like a Great Dane and a bunny bouncing around and a boa constrictor. I'm like, these gotta go. And I helped her edit everything. And for 2 days, I was painting and doing everything. Anyway, that launched my career, and I double-sided it. And we could talk about dual agency at a different time, but I was on both sides. I know, shut up. I was on both sides, and I did. And that was my first month as a Coldwell Banker agent, and I sold the house for a list. And I want to share something with you guys really quickly. I was thinking about this. The way I did it was very different. And at the time, nobody was doing video. And my husband had like the camcorder. He's like, well, just say something. And I somehow, some way put it on the TV. And then I did a full page ad, and I didn't put the outside of the house on because I was trying to protect her and I didn't want her so exposed, but I wanted to tantalize. And I wrote a story about what it's like to live there. And I said, this is a home you've always admired. Guess where? We're having a sip and see. I called it a sip and see. And I said, please come. We're only going to be open for 1 hour. Call me. There was no texting in 2003, people. Anyway, I did the house. I baked sourdough when I didn't even know what the heck I was doing to make it smell good. We cleaned it. We had lights, candles. I had macaroons when macaroons weren't cool. I mean, I could go on and on. I opened the door, and this is a trophy home. And I looked down, and it's 3 blocks long. I will never forget it. I was by myself. I'll never forget it as long as I lived. I called my husband. I called the neighbor. I was like, you got to come over here and just sit in every room. I don't know. And there was a walk-in, and I sold it that day, which actually really launched my career because it was a record. How about that?
I am speechless. Ladies, I want you guys to listen. What I want you to hear is all of the lessons from the first deal that Dawn had. So number one, someone called her and she was honest. She goes, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'll do everything I can to get your home sold. And the seller responds, I trust you. That tells you right there that the cornerstone of her business was built on the community trusting her. She was a mom. She was a team mom. She was the room mom. She was at the church. She was at the school. She was in the community, and they knew her in the community. She wasn't a secret agent. Everybody knew her. She was out and about, and she didn't get discouraged when somebody slammed the door in her face. And then on top of that, she did something different than everybody else was doing. Rather than flaunting this listing all over the place, she kept it secret. She only showed the inside of it. She was very discreet. She took that client's privacy and her trust so seriously, and she double-sided the deal. And now think about that. So this is long before we're having all of these commission conversations, but the person who walked in, again, valued her opinion, valued her trust, and did the deal on both sides. And she did a sip and see, and she wasn't afraid to ask for help. So for all of those of you that are brand new, that don't think you can break into the luxury market, that don't know where to start, she started where everybody, I feel, should start. And that is in your own backyard. Dawn, I think, I don't know what made me more speechless. The fact that you weren't afraid ever in any point in that transaction. And when you didn't know what you were supposed to do, and you weren't afraid to ask somebody, even your husband, for help. And you were so far ahead of the whole video thing.
It's crazy. But you have to be, I think what happens with us all in any job, whether you're in private equity, investment banking, whatever, you get caught in your own way. We have tunnel vision, and we're just trying to play whack-a-mole in front of us. If you really want to blow up, you need to innovate. You need to see where the holes are. You see where the holes are every day. We're seeing the holes right now. We got to be managing every damn, buyer's agent thing. And some want it for a year. Some said 6 months. Some said just for this house. Some say for 30 days. And you're just trying to, earn their trust and go. And then you realize, oh, that's expired. What did I do? I created an app that's part of managing all of that stuff. So you get a ping and a push. Hey, Dawn, call Glennda Baker. If I see she bought a house and this is expiring tomorrow. Like, you just have to think way ahead if you want to get ahead, I think.
Well, and that's a great segue, I got to tell you, because one thing that you have really done that blows my mind is you basically said, you know what? everywhere I vacation, everywhere I spend time, everywhere I have a house, I could sell all the houses there too. And I'm like, seriously? Like it blew. I mean, I had dinner with you. You invited me to dinner and I'm like, oh, okay. You want to have
Okay.
dinner with me? Like, okay, let's do it. And I literally, I walked away from that dinner thinking to myself, you are such a baller because you didn't even think about, you're in Park City, you're in Naples. What's the lake up there where you are?
I'm in Lake Geneva, which is Wisconsin, and a lot of the North Shore people go there. And then I'm in Harbor Country in Michigan and Indiana, where a lot of the West and South suburbs go.
Okay, so look, you're in Hinsdale, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
do you know Valerie Rose and Patrick?
Valerie Rose and Patrick Rose. Why does
No,
that sound?
Valerie Rose is her name, but she just married Patrick. And Patrick's parents, they're Catholic, and they're in Hinsdale.
What? Okay, wait. That's like, you stumped me. I'm going to figure this out right
Yeah,
now.
I want to tell you, Patrick Vincent.
Patrick Vincent. Wait a minute.
He's a pilot.
Wait, I want to see if he's in my contacts. And it doesn't sound familiar, but we're going to
His parents are in your contact. I promise you.
It's so weird. And their last name's Rose?
Vincent. Their last name's Vincent. Patrick Vincent.
This is weird. Okay, I have
Valerie Rose is going to laugh. Do you have them in your contact?
I have two Vincents in my contact. So, let's be real here. I have my shiz together 99% of the time, but I'm not going to deny people. Like sometimes I'm like, say I saw Patrick Vincent and he had red hair and a mustache. He might be in my contacts as cute guy with mustache and red hair. They're getting so irritated with me because with the CRM and the app and all that we're doing, they're like, Dawn, it says
No.
so in the baby mama. What is wrong with you? But the problem is I want to be engaged at all times. I never want to be like, can you hang on? So then I am just like very present and I get in my car and I'm driving off and I'm driving. I don't want to get killed while I'm texting. So I'm like, cute girl with a bun, black hair, Hispanic mom, cutest family ever. Boom. That's in the contacts. I'm old. I don't know what to say.
But that's the thing is most agents make it too difficult. They may, oh my gosh, wait a minute. I've got to get out my CRM and I've got to fill in all the fields. And literally you're meeting somebody on the go at Home Goods, at Home Depot, at the club, at the kids' school, at somebody's game, and you're literally just making a note in your phone, hey, this is who it is, this is where I met them, and you're just moving. Then that way, when they pick up the phone and they call you, you're like, oh yeah, I remember you, of course. I will never forget that red hair. Oh, my stars and stripes. And that's where you're going with it. But you have created these like satellite teams all over the country.
It's crazy, but I will say, like, if I'm being very transparent, is it very strategic now? Yes. To tell you that it was all strategy would be a lie. What really happened, and we could talk about this because I know we talked about 30A with you and all kinds of things. And I mean, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. Everybody's trying. No one has scaled the way I have in, 7 different markets across 6 different states. But it's the people, it's the organization. And so the one thing that I did that is probably going to blow your mind is I stuck to what I'm really good at. I know how to sell. I'm good at engaging and I know how to sell. Everything else I hired smarter. So I don't even have a computer. This computer I'm on right now is my marketing girls. And I don't even know how to do any of this. I have never even sent a freaking an attachment. To be honest, I've never signed a contract. I've never put a picture up on the thing. 0.
But that's the thing is you live in your lane of genius. You figured out, hey, all of this other stuff is a distraction for me. It's not the highest and best use of my time. Where I live is where my genius is. And that's what makes you so amazing at what you do because like, you not only have the idea, you have the ability to execute and you know yourself well enough that you need to put the right people in the right places.
You know what's interesting though, I will say, and I don't know what it is about our like realtor community, but everyone's cheap. I don't know what that is. And I will tell you, I have spent millions of dollars getting the right people. Like people's like, oh, I want to run a team. I want to run a team. Okay. Do you want to be in accounting? Do you want to be in marketing? Do you want to be in HR? Do you want to be in event planning? Do you want to be in logistics? Like it goes on and on and on. I mean, I have a director of operations. I have a director of sales. I have a director of marketing. I have a social media strategist. I have all these things. And I'm part of these meetings, but I also am really good at saying, hey, Glennda, you're better at this than I am on this. Like here, you're the queen of podcasts. Do you think I would start my own podcast and not call you? No, I mean, like I don't know how to do that. So you are really good at it. I mean, that's the thing. But also, you have to pay. Like I don't know what it is about our industry, but like nobody wants to spend any money, and I get it because you eat what you kill, so you don't know when that next dollar comes. And there's going to be some times where it's like, peaks and valleys. When you're high, you're high. When you're not, you're not. That's why it's very important to save and pay your taxes and do all the things. But I paid a pretty penny to get the best people, not just a person, but the best people. And I promise you, it is the number one reason I was able to scale. And I do want to tell you something. I listened. We talked about 30A a lot in Atlanta, and my daughter-in-law's there and blah, blah, blah. I will tell you, Naples was supposed to be my happy place where I just hung out, okay? And a lot of Chicagoans go to Naples. And if I'm being transparent, I would get we've been the number one agent in all of Illinois for since 2007, okay? So that's that. So a lot of people call us and say, who should I use in Naples? So we all do the same things. Let's Google. I don't just look at Coldwell Banker. I know I'm supposed to, but I want the best person that's actually going to care for this client like I care for this client, right? So it's interesting. There were 3 gentlemen that were like the top. So I met with them all and I said, I don't know, guys, I think this is going to start being a tumbleweed because I'm there. And then everyone's like, should I go to Palm Beach, Jupiter, blah, blah, blah. Coral Gables should go to Naples. Why did you go to Naples? Blah, blah, blah. Well, I was getting pulled into every single deal. We all know you get a referral. I give it to you. You say, hey, Dawn, I got this done. Thanks, Glennda, blah, blah, blah. You call it a day. Okay. And what happened was these clients, whether they were sellers or buyers, didn't get the experience they had with me. And so they were like, I had one seller that I had sold her house in the city, sold her house in Hinsdale, sold her place in Winnetka. And she said she did 11 beautiful $4 to $6 million specs, and she had 4 more left. And she's like, well, you just get a team here. I don't care who it is. I just trust your marketing. I trust that you'll tell me the truth. I trust that you'll do your art and science and get it all. I don't care. So I walked in to Naples with $48 million in listings. I mean, I was taking the test and my team member was like with the hammer with the sign. So to say it was all put out for me, I mean, I'm a giddy up girl. What's the worst that can happen? I fall on my face, I get back up, I do it again. I'm not a wait and see kind of person, which sometimes is not great. I'm a sprinter. I don't know what to say.
I love that. It's funny. We talked about 30A. So I guess we were in LA in July, correct?
I think so.
We were in LA in July for that event.
I were on that thing, for the luxury.
July 17th. We were there July 17th. And you said something about 30A, and I was like, oh, that's so crazy because we're actually looking for something in 30A. We're, thinking about it, because that's where we go. In Atlanta, it's 5 hours door to door. That's where we go, right?
Yeah.
And so it's so funny because I don't know if Jonathan told you, but we bought a house in Jonathan's neighborhood.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
my
So it was.
Did you buy with Jonathan?
No, we didn't. We bought off market.
Good.
You inspired me. I'm like, oh my God. So I had Jonathan on the podcast a week or 2 ago, and it was so crazy. And he's like, oh, where are you? And I'm like, oh, this is where we're in Destiny by the Sea. And he goes, wait a minute, I'm in Destiny East. And he's right across the street.
No way. You know what?
That's crazy.
That is crazy. Let me tell you this. This is something for your people to realize how important referrals are. I was thinking about this with you because, like, obviously you're in 30A. My son plays, he's the catcher for Tulane. I'd never been in New Orleans in my life. Those people freaking love 30A.
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
because it's like 4 hours. We drove there. We're like, or 4.5 or whatever. It was no big deal over that bridge. Anyway, so I my daughter-in-law works for Jonathan. She worked for me, and now my son is in Air Force Special Ops. So I put her with Jonathan just because she needed a community of young people that, were inspiring. That kid moved there March 17th. She is 26 years old. You're going to freak out when I'll tell you this. July 17th, when you met her, the pretty girl with the dark
Yeah,
hair.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Maria.
She has sold $38 million of real estate, set 3 records for watercolor, and they were all her records. 8.5, 10.4, 14.1, all for one referral.
That is insane.
And none of them were on the market, Glenda. You know what she did? Yes, they were my client. My client immediately said, "Hey, I'm not a Naples person. I like, Rosemary Beach watercolor." So I go, "You got to meet my daughter-in-law." So I text them. I introduced them. I said, "Hey, so-and-so, meet my daughter-in-law, Maria. She is Dawn 2.0. She's, faster than I am. She's stronger than I am. You guys will get along great." He writes back, "Maria, I love your mother-in-law. Here's the deal. I'm not opening Pandora's box. If I would buy there, I would only buy one of these 7 houses." They were all on the beach. What'd she do? Like a psycho, she knocked on their door
Yeah,
and said,
absolutely.
"I'm so sorry, I don't mean to bother." And guess what? 2 of the 3 were owned by the same person, and this all happened within 6 months. It's crazy.
Oh my God. That's the thing. And that's what people don't understand. Like, there were literally 38 houses that we were interested in.
Yeah.
It was one of 38. And that was all we were going to buy. We weren't buying anything else except these one of 38. And so it was so funny. And you're exactly right. People know what they want. They know you just have to listen to them. I've got a client now who wants to buy in Pennsylvania. They know the neighborhood they want to buy in. They know the size that they want to buy. That's what's so great about our job these days is that it's not like it was 20 years ago when they had no clue. Like now they can get on, they can pre-look and drive around the neighborhood and know all the schools and know all the stuff. What they don't know is the intimate information, how to articulate that, how to dissect it, how to use it for their benefit. That's what they need us for now. That's what they need us for, the intimate information that they would never have any idea about, that only someone who is a neighborhood expert in that area that would know. And I love it. I love it.
I agree. I think too, so many, and I even tell my team this, never be an order taker. You are not a fill in the blank gal or guy. You need to give them, there's so much science out there. You need to cut through the fat for them to break down the metrics. And then the color. Why do you think all the football games and all the sports games, there's a guy talking about facts and there's a color guy to be kind of folding in why that, not this. I think we've lost that in a way. And I see these younger ones coming in and it's like, there's so much color to be had. They just got to dive in. They got to talk. Yeah. They got to talk to people like you. How did you do this? What did you do this? Why did you buy Destiny by the Sea? Why didn't you look at Kaya? Whatever the heck it was. Just to hear what your reasons were at your age, and you have kids and grandkids. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's so wonderful. So Dawn, I feel like you run the world. Like what is next on how do you stay inspired? What's next for you? Like where do you go when you're the boss? Like where do you go?
You know what? It's funny. It's kind of like you're asking me what my why is a little bit. And I've been thinking about that a lot lately. And money's great, you guys. I'm not going to lie. Money's great. Okay.
Yeah.
But I told you before, my kids are 31, 29, 27, and going to be 24 in February. They're like flying large. None of them work for me. I need you to know that. Like, I think that's kind of important because I don't have that. Maria, my daughter-in-law, worked for me in the city of Chicago. She slung rentals. She was running around like a crazy person with rentals, and now she works for somebody else. That's different. I think that right now, as I see it, there's a lot of my team members that are my kids' age, and it's like such a win for me when they call and like, "You're not going to believe this. I just got the $26 million penthouse sold." I go, "How'd you do it?" I went and I had a huge party before the Hawks game, and I invited all the Hawks, and they all came. Like, you know what I mean? Like, little things like that keep me going. I would say what's next for me is this. Look out when I have grandkids. Two out of the four of my kids just got married in the last 12 months. So that's really fun. And I love that. And to me, if I'm being honest, like, I've been married for 33 years. I might get skewered for this, but it is what it is. Like, I do think in life, like, it is so fulfilling to have somebody along the way with you. And it's, as a mom, I think there's no greater gift than to witness your kids like love and be loved. And I have to say, like, it's very rewarding for me. And so right now I'm like determined to get all of my team to work at the biggest capacity that they could be because they're so young, to make money, to find their person, and to learn that you can have it all. You can
Yeah.
have it all. I always say I lost my mom when she was 52, so she never saw me do this. And my mom was very big on like, why are you going to go to college? Anything you do is going to turn to gold. Get a loan. My parents did not have the means. I paid for my own college. And she was like, you should just get a loan and start a business. Like, and it's just so funny that like here I am, and she passed before she saw all this. And I always think of like a cardinal when I think of my mom. And when I see a cardinal, it reminds me like she does see it. But I think that it's like kind of the mother in me. My mom was like that. And I'm kind of a mother of my team, even for men that are older than me. They come to me, my kid is getting a divorce. I'm like, oh my God, she just got married. Hey, let's look at the bright side. What are you going to do about that? I think that's my like greatest fulfillment on this team. The money comes, there's no doubt about it, but it's like the differences that my team members are making that I feel like I'm helping launch them and kind of show them you can have balanced. You can be a baller. You can make money. You can work a full-time job and be a wife and be a mother. You can do it. It's hard, Glenda. I'm
Yeah.
not going to sit here and say it wasn't a bitch and it wasn't a grind. There were bumps and all kinds of things. I have a very supportive husband, and he was blown away by a lot. I mean, I I think it's a combination, but I do think this. My biggest advice for people out there is if you're doing 20 to 25 million, get an assistant. Like every single person on my team has an assistant. They have to. Like, otherwise, you do break down. You've
Yeah.
been there. We've been there. The tears, the should I be doing this? This isn't worth it. And it's also like you're better together, like your team. Like, can you imagine being solo? Like, I do think that the wave of the future is teams. I do.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. Well, Elizabeth's been with me 24 years.
Wow. Wait, how
Oh,
long have you been in this business?
32 years.
Wow.
32 years. And Elizabeth started because I got pregnant with Lucas, and I knew that I was going to need to take some time off. And Elizabeth started working with me, and she's worked with me ever since then. And she's like my sister. And Eveline and Victoria have been with me 9 years.
But that says this is the thing. And here's another thing. If you're experiencing out there constant turnover, I hate to tell it to you, it's you.
Yeah.
Hear me out. Just like when we lose, we've all been there where we lose a listing, we're like, I didn't call him back. Or
Yeah.
darn it, he knew I wasn't that excited about it or something. You usually when you're losing people like that, you got to look in the mirror and say, heavy is the head that wears the crown. What can I do better to make sure that that person knows I care? That whole culture, I'm like over it, but it's true. These
So true.
20 to 30-year-olds value culture almost more than they value money.
Absolutely. And they want to feel like that they're seen and they're heard and they have a purpose. And it's a very, used to, if you paid somebody enough, they do it. Didn't matter, But now it's not just the money. They want to feel needed. They want to feel like they have a purpose. They want to feel like they have value. And I think most people do. And I think whether it's your buyer, your seller, your investor, your team member, they want to know that they have value and that they have skin in the relationship. And it's funny because you kind of run your team very similar to me. Like there isn't anything that I ask somebody, one of the salespeople on my team to do that I'm not willing to do. Like
100%.
I'm here. We're all in this together, and I love it. And I can't imagine my life without them. I love them so
I know,
much. They're like
weird. Like we went to dinner last night and we were talking about just different things, and I have to say it's a real. I now I'm 56 and I now know how valuable it is to be able to keep somebody, and you've kept people for so long, and that does say something about you. I do call my team members like kids. I'm like, "Are you all right? How you doing? What's going on? What's going on with your dad? I care. I want to hear what the hell's
yeah,
going on." Because it's nice to have that. You know what I mean? And it's nice to like. I just feel like my son's. I told you my son Will is in the Air Force, and he's a big dog. I mean, he's a badass, and I'm so proud of him. I mean, he was one of these kids. He graduated from Michigan. He's like, guess what? Don't have a party for me. I'm a rich kid that parents paid. I should graduate on time, but guess what? I don't think this is for me. This is what I want to do. I'm like, oh my God. And I learned so much from him that I implemented into my business. He's been in there for 4 years. We're force multipliers when you have a team behind you. Think about
yeah,
this. There's never going to be a chance where someone wins a war without a team that's like rowing in the same direction in synchronicity. If you're in my boat, Glennda, you're over here and you're pushing forward when I'm pushing backwards, we ain't getting anywhere. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Like, I just feel like I always think about that. And there's a book called Make Your Bed. Are you familiar? It's Admiral McCraven. You got to get it. It's called Make Your Bed. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that I love my husband, but he's a psycho. Um, he would put this in the kids' like Christmas stockings at like 8 years old. And this guy was a Navy SEAL that was part of the regime that killed bin Laden. And he basically talks about little things do matter. People are like, don't
Yeah.
sweat the small stuff. No, the small stuff actually like is your competitive advantage. And he talks about grab your person through life. You will be better for it. Get the right people in your boat. You're better together. And the simple thing, starting your day with making your bed is like a checklist. I've completed something. I've accomplished something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think there's so many different nuggets, and my kids have read it 100 times. And I actually, for a while there, was reading a little excerpt when I woke up in the morning. I know that book like the back of my head right now, but it's really, 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 really impactful. Get it. Get it for your kids.
Okay, I'm going to get that book. And Dawn, I got to tell you, when you have grandchildren, you have no idea how amazing it is. Mine are 5 and 3. And the 5-year-old, he started kindergarten. And so he says to me, he's like, Glitter, we're going to have the Christmas thing on Friday. It's your birthday. I want you to come for the Christmas thing. I'm like, I'll be there. I will be there. And I wore his favorite sweater and I'm in my jeans and I get there. And he's like, Glitter. And it's just
glitter.
so,
I'm going to copy that. I was thinking Gucci, but now I want glitter. Go ahead.
oh my God, it's so amazing. And I get there. And so, I'm helping him make the ornament and we're sitting there doing the stuff. And I asked my daughter, I said, now which one's the teacher? And she goes, oh, Miss Cook's the teacher. So I go over there. I'm like, hi, Miss Cook. I'm Glitter. I'm Callie's grandma. And she looks at me and she doesn't say anything. And I'm like, Miss Cook? And she goes, wait a minute. She goes, you're the real estate agent from TikTok. I'm like,
And she's like, is she like 12? I'm kidding. But like,
no, she's been a teacher 26 years. So
what?
that tells you, like, she's our age. She's our age and she's on TikTok. But the thing about I had no idea that you were Callie's grandma. And she goes, I've just always heard him say glitter, glitter, glitter. She goes, I didn't realize it. It's so funny to me though. You don't realize like when you have those grandchildren, like it's like the next wave of like getting involved in the school.
I know. No, I know it sounds crazy, but like, look out. Like you asked me like, what's next? I mean, I'm busting my rump right now and doing the things I love to do. But look out when I have grandkids. I'm going to be like one of those crazy people that have my grandkids in the buggy and I'm going to be like, let's go look at this house. You got this, and bringing them in. I just know I'm going to be like that. I'm warning you all in my markets. I don't think I can ever retire. Never. I don't think so.
It's so funny. Callie did a video for me, and he said to me, he says on the video, he does a video on TikTok, and he says, "You may know my grandma Glitter. Her real name's Glennda, and she sells houses in Atlanta, Georgia."
Genius.
It's so damn cute. Anyway,
So
Dawn,
cute.
I cannot believe that I have gotten to spend so much time with you today. I'm so appreciative of your time, but I'm so much more appreciative of your talent, your inspiration, your energy, and just you always the one thing that I've noticed about you every time I'm around you is you are all about making the place that you are better, making the people around you better, loving on the people, bringing value to the conversation. And you never, ever interrupt the silence with bullshit. Every single thing that you have to say is something that brings value. You inspire, you impact, and you inform every time you open your mouth. And I'm
Wow.
so appreciative to have had the opportunity to meet you. You are
You
an
are
amazing person.
you are so sweet. You made my day. You made my day. Thank you so much for letting me be on this. I love this whole thing. And for all of you out there, like bring the energy. Just bring the
Yeah.
energy. I mean, I'm telling you, if you're like down, people are like, how, you ask me like, okay, what's your superpower? It's that. Like,
Yeah.
think that like
I,
when you go into a store and someone's like, can I help you? You're like, bait it. But if you get that obnoxious, you're like, listen, I'm here. There's some cool sales. Just look around and come get me. Like, I'm going to come get that girl.
I love it. You know what? I swear, every time I think about you, I want to see the daily dish with Dawn. I just want like one little real estate tip a day. And I just want the daily dish from Dawn. Like what is it today that you're going to do that's going to change your business, that's going to change someone's life, that's going to change the way that people think about real estate? That is the daily dish with Dawn.
I'm doing this. You're going to see it implemented tomorrow because I'm going to share something. I came here and I stopped at CB2 because I had 20 minutes left and God, shouldn't I get here early? No, I went over there. I go over there, you guys. I was a figure skater and there's amazing, a pair of figure skates that's marble. You need to get them. And they have unlacquered brass as the blades. I have to show you this. They are so beautiful. Okay, wait. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
For $150. Okay. So I was a figure skater and I say the sales girl, I got the sales girl. She's going to use our rental team to buy the new rental. I said, come over here. I love this. I was a skater, whatever. And I called my team member Naples and I said, don't we do a lot of business with this gal at this certain big development? Yeah. She was a skater too. And I remember it from an Inman 3 years ago. We're shipping it to her. It made me think of her. And I was like, oh my gosh, she would love it. It's not that expensive, but like it goes a long way. So sometimes like you just got to kind of like think out of the box and do some talking, but not like, you want to buy a house? They're like, what do you do for a living? I'm like, I sell real estate. I run a big team. What do you run? Dawn McKenna Group. Oh my gosh. Oh, well, I can't afford you. I'm in a rental. I'm like, we have the biggest rental group in the city. We'll do something for 200 or 20,000. Doesn't matter. She's like, give me your number. She already called them. Like, you just got
That is so awesome.
Yes. But anyway, I adore you. Enjoy those grandbabies and that magic. And I'm thrilled and honored that you had me on your show.
Am I going to see you in January in New York?
What is that? Am I
Inman?
Oh, probably. I need to write this down. They only give me a little nuggets of my thing because otherwise I look and I'm like, when I look at my calendar. So I only look at my calendar the day ahead. Like I knew about this yesterday. I'm like, you guys, I'm on the Glennda Baker podcast. So like I have all these notes because I'm like, I don't want to sound like a dingus. So hopefully I didn't.
You were amazing as usual, Dawn. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Glennda Baker. I am a real estate agent in Atlanta, Georgia. And today I had the amazing opportunity to hang out with my friend Dawn McKenna in Chicago and everywhere else in the world with the Dawn McKenna Group. Dawn, thank you so much for your time and your talent and for being Glennda's guru today. I really appreciate it.
Look for the Dawn dish. Daily Dawn dish is coming your way.
Daily dish with Dawn. And just think, I think that like Dawn dishwashing detergent, or is that what it's called? Dishwasher dish? Yeah. I think that they could be a sponsor of the Daily Dish with Dawn.
Oh my gosh. Okay, you started something.
You had no idea that I was going to come up with that.
I had no idea.
I love it. I love it. Dawn, thank you so much.
Bye, dear.